Shalom, shalom, shalom. As always, first I want to give all the praises and the glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His only begotten Son, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, my elders, the apostles. Shalom to the hopeful elect, brothers and sisters of the house of Israel, the true Hebrew Israelites. As the Bible says, many are called, few are chosen. The chosen are the elect of the nation of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites. What scripture I'm thinking of here? So I want to just play this little bit of this interview that Joe Rogan had with this congresswoman last week. Her name is, if I remember, her name is, what's her name again? Her name is, that's it, Anna Paulina Luna. Anna Paulina Luna. She's a congresswoman, a representative. All right. And she had a conversation with Joe Rogan regarding the chariots of the Lord, as they referred to them as UFOs and UAPs, because she's part of that investigation team. She's part of that committee that's been looking into this, that's been given special permission to look into this and to go over the evidence and so forth and so on, all right? So she's a representative. I'm not sure what part of it's Florida, somewhere down in Florida or the West, but she's a congresswoman that's there. So she was on Joe Rogan's show this week, and he was interviewing her regarding this. Now, before I play this interview, part of this interview, I want to do copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing non-profit educational or personal use, etc., etc., etc. All right? Copyrights. We're not making any money off of this, as you should know. So, without further ado, let's listen to this interview, and we're gonna, as you can see from the title, a tech we don't have the ability to reproduce, and I'm mimicking what she said. Basically, it's like dropping off a mobile phone back in caveman times, she said. So she's had access to the tech, to the information, and she said apparently it's like dropping off a mobile phone back in caveman times. So without further ado, let's go into the interview and let's listen to what she has to say.
Do you think that it's possible that these are U.S. vehicles that are top secret?
I definitely think that there's a level of advanced technology that the U.S. government has. And I think that tech can be housed within the defense contractor realm. And of course, some information is going to be classified. But I can also tell you, and this might sound crazy, but based on our investigations and stuff that we've seen, okay, there is definitely something that I think would rival what we know currently with physics, and a tech that potentially is out there that we don't have the ability to reproduce, because it would basically be like dropping a cell phone right off back during the time of maybe caveman.
It's like dropping a cell phone right off back during the time of caveman. This is where the title from, straight out of the horse's mouth. That's the tech that they've had access to, that they've seen, that's been recorded, because we know they've not captured any of these chariots and they're not crashed or nothing like that. It's just from what they have seen, from what they've been to observe, what they've been able to record, all the information that they've got over the decades regarding the chariots of the Lord, right? So she said the tech that what she has seen is a tech that we all right, don't have the ability to reproduce, which we know that. It's that comment she made there. She said it's like dropping off a cell phone right off back during the times of maybe caveman. Can you imagine, right? You're dropping off an Apple phone, an Apple iPhone 16 back in caveman's time. All right. Could you imagine? It kind of reminds me of that movie, Idiocracy. Idiocracy. It reminds me of that movie, Idiocracy, where there was the one man that had more intelligence than everybody else because he was frozen. He was like, what do they do when they freeze you? And I forget what they call it, cryogenics, when they freeze the body. And he was there for like hundreds of years. And then he woke up in the future after everything had happened, the destruction, everything. Everyone's intelligence had gone back like hundreds of years, like centuries. Their technology had gone back, so nobody was clever. So when he woke up during that time, he was basically the cleverest man on earth. He was like a cell phone being dropped during that time. Even though it was in the future, they had gone backwards because they'd lost all knowledge of their technology that they had before. I think the film is called Idiocracy. Idiocracy. I believe that's what the movie is called. It's a really, really good movie when you watch it. But anyway, let's go back to the interview. All right. So that was a statement that stood out to me. I said, yeah, it's definitely like dropping off a cell phone back during caveman times.
So like we just don't have the tech to develop it yet. What I can also tell you is based on our interviews, and this has been something that you can go back and watch with the congressional hearings, but I was actually able to ask some of the witnesses, what are these things? And they keep saying interdimensional. And then when you talk about the interdimensional aspect of, are these things pre-existing, maybe outside of what we currently know as our own dimension? That stuff can kind of all sound crazy, but at the end of the day, my job as an investigator is to receive all the information, decipher it, and then ultimately from a congressional aspect, if you do have contractors that are withholding information or operating outside of the purview of the federal government, I mean, there's budgetary issues, but there's definitely something that I can tell you with confidence that exists that we don't know how to explain currently.
So we don't know how to explain currently. 100%. We do, because we know that they're the chariots of the Lord, right? We know exactly what they are. We grab a quick preset because I want to bring out preset as we're going to go through this interview, right? Because about a 10-minute clip, but we're going to just stop and start. So bear with me. Let me just grab a scripture. So what kind of came to mind was when Elijah was taken up to heaven, all right? Now, you should all know the story about this. Elijah, when he was taken up. Those of you that be in the truth, those of you that may be new to this was an example of the chariots of the Lord appearing to Israel. All right, the same chariots that they're seeing now, the same chariots that the prophets and the Israelites and the nation saw back then during biblical times, during the times of the Lord, during the times before, because this is well before Elijah is before the Lord, right? Elijah lived during the just before the Babylonian captivity, I believe. If I go back, you got Elijah, Ezekiel. Yeah, Elijah would have been before the Babylonian captivity, all right? Elijah would have been living during the Assyrian captivity, during that time. But I will double check. 2 Kings 2:1 said, and it came to pass when the Lord Yahweh would take up Elijah into heaven by what? By a whirlwind. Today we refer to that as a UFO or a UAP, an unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomenon. But we refer to them as IFOs, identifiable flying objects, because we know what they are. So that whirlwind that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal, right? So this is how Elijah was going to be taken. Elijah was like Enoch, right? And Melchizedek. They just went. They didn't die. The Lord came for them. And Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord has sent me to Bethel, right? Because that's where he was going to come and collect him from. And Elisha said unto him, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So that they went down to Bethel. So they went down to Bethel, all right? And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha, because there was other prophets during that time, but Elisha was the main prophet, right? And said unto him, knowest thou that the Lord Yahweh will take away thy master from thy head today? And he said, yea, I know it, hold ye your peace. So Elisha knew that Elijah was going to be taken today. Didn't know how, but he knew he was going to be taken. And also these prophets knew. These prophets that were in Bethel knew. So the Lord came to them. The angels of the Lord came to them, obviously in a vision. and told them that the Lord is coming for the main prophet, for the number one prophet at that time, which was Elijah. And Elijah said unto him, Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho. And he says, as the Lord liveth, and as thou soul livest, I will not leave thee. So they came to Jericho. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho, so now these are different sons of prophets that are in Jericho. First they stopped in Bethel. These are prophets in Jericho. Came to Elisha, right? It's like the Lord did that on purpose, right? And said unto him, knowest thou that the Lord will take away thy master from thy head today? And he answered, yea, I know it. Hold ye your peace. You know, this is definitely Jake, boy. So these are the prophets, the sons of the prophets in Jericho, right? And Elijah said to him, tarry, I pray thee here, for the Lord has sent me into Jordan. And he has said, as the Lord liveth, as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And they went, and the two went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off, and they stood by the Jordan. So there was an audience of prophets watching Elijah and Elisha cross the river Jordan, right? By the river Jordan, coming across it. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry ground. And it came to pass, when they had gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee, but if not, it shall not be so. So this is the point we're coming. This is the point we're coming to get to here. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, what they call UFOs, UAPs today, right? And horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, right? And Elijah went up by a whirlwind chariot into heaven. So Elisha saw it, and also those 50 prophets that were standing on the river Jordan saw Elijah go up in a chariot. So, and Elisha saw it. There you go. And he cried, my father, right? Abba, Abba. That's what he would have said in the Hebrew. Abba, Abba, the chariots of Israel. The chariots of Israel, what are they? They are your UFOs and your UAPs. The chariots of Israel are the chariots of the Lord. They are the Lord, the angels' chariots, right? And the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Elijah and fell from him and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan. So Elisha witnessed Elijah going up in the chariots. That's why he said the chariots of Israel, all right, which are the UFOs, the UAPs that everyone is seeing today. These are what the angels come in. These are the chariots of Israel, the chariots of the Lord, all right, that he saw. So he witnessed that alongside the 50 men of the sons of the prophets that went and stood to view afar off, and they too stood by the Jordan. So they all saw that. So this is what everyone is seeing. Everyone is seeing the chariots of Israel. It's as simple as that. That's what they're seeing, the chariots of Israel, the chariots of the Lord, all right? So let's go back to the interview.
So when you say that it operates outside our understanding of physics, what specifically are you saying? Like what happened?
To I guess break it down in simple terms is that I think that some of the tech that exists, that whatever these things have, these energy things have,
Energy things? What do you mean?
well, they call them interdimensional beings. I think that they can actually operate through the time spaces that we currently have, and that's not something that I came up with on my own. That's based on.
It can operate through the time spaces that we have. Absolutely. There's nothing out of their what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing out of their reach that they can do. These chariots, these angels, there's nothing that they cannot do, right? To us, to what's impossible to us is possible to the Most High in every essence. There's nothing out of the Most High's realm. There's nothing that's out of his book that he can't do, that his angels can't do. So this is what they have witnessed. This is the information that they have, right?
stuff that we've seen. That's based on information that we've been told. And then also too, I think that there's this historical aspect of, this gets into the deeper theories and concepts of religion, and I think the history that we currently know, and that kind of spins off into another topic of, you have the modern day Bible, you have this aspect of Bibles that or books of the Bible that have been
Books of the Bible. All praises to Yahweh Shai. Books of the Bible. All right. Even some books that they like to discard, like we call the Apocrypha. Books of the Bible. Let me just play that back again. All right. It's current spins off deeper theories and concepts of religion. All right. This is what she says here.
The deeper theories and concepts of religion, and I think the history that we currently know, and that kind of spins off into another topic of, you have the modern day Bible, you have this aspect of Bibles that or books of the Bible that have been removed that explain and kind of touch on these topics.
Books of the Bible that have been removed that explain the modern day Bible. You have books that explain, right? History, explain these things, right? That we are seeing today. Play that
Kind of
again.
spins off into another topic of, you have the modern day Bible, you have this aspect of Bibles that or books of the Bible that have been removed that explain and kind of touch on these topics.
Books of the Bible that have been removed, right? That explain and touch on these topics, right? Modern day Bibles. So what does that make you think of? The Apocrypha, because that's what they've removed, right? We have the Apocrypha, but that's what they took out of the KJV, right? This is what they took out. So, but the Apocrypha, what does the word Apocrypha mean? It means hidden, right? Hidden, where it speaks about these things. So let's just quickly go into the Apocrypha. Let's go to, let's share this tab here. I'm going to come back to the video. Hold tight. She's got a lot more to say. She says a lot more. It gets interesting. So this is books of the Bible. So this is books that they are taken out. Second Ezra's, which was always part of the Bible. But you know what Esau does, all right? Second Ezra's. Let's go to a chapter that goes into this chariots, all right? That speaks about these things. This is Second Ezra's, chapter 13. We'll start at the top and we're going to read a few verses down, all right? Second Ezra's chapter 13, verse 1. And it came to pass that after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. This is the prophet Ezra. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens, the thousands of angels coming in their smaller chariots, right, which they would call like probes, right? That man waxed strong is Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Remember, the Lord's name is Yahweh. Yah means he, Hawashai means savior. That's that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens, right? He's the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. When they saw the Lord's chariot and his army of chariots, everyone quaked, except the elect. And whensoever the voice, I mean, we're probably going to quake too, but we're going to quake with joy, with joy. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they that burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of a number from the four winds of heaven. These are the armies that are going to come up against the Lord in the war of Armageddon, from the four winds of heaven, which is the four corners of the world, to subdue the man that came out of the sea, the chariot. So the view that they are seeing is the chariot as if it's rising out of the sea, because it's going to be coming from the east, right? It's like when you see a sunrise. If you're standing on the beach or on the mountain, you see a sunrise and you're looking into the sea. It looks like the sun is coming out of the sea. If you see the sun setting, going down, and you're standing on the seaside, you know, on the beach, on a mountain, you're looking towards the sea. It looks like the sun is going down into the sea, but it's not. That's what they are seeing. They're seeing the chariot rising from the east, all right? So it looks like it's coming out of the sea, but it's not coming out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and what? And flew up upon it. A great mountain. That mountain was the chariot that the Lord was traveling in. All right. So it looked like a great mountain, and he flew upon it. So we know we know there ain't no flying mountains out there, right? That's the chariot. That's the UFO. That's the UAP that the Lord is coming in. But I would have seen the region or the place whereat the hill was graven, and I could not. So they couldn't see where this great mountain started or where it finished. They couldn't see where the chariot started or where it finished. That's how gigantic it was. That's how large it was. All right. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, but yet do fight. They're going to fight. Who are they fighting? They're fighting the Lord Yahushai and the angels in their smaller probes. So this is what they are seeing. It's a chariot. All right. So then it goes into the war itself. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held his sword, nor any instrument of war. All right. When he saw the armies coming up against the Lord, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, out of the chariot, out of the UFO, as it had been a blast of fire, out of his lips, a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. So this is the laser beams coming out of the chariots, right? And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence, not with love, hugs and kisses, with violence upon the multitude, with the allied forces that was fighting against the Lord, which was prepared to fight. I shut my mouth and just read the scriptures. And burn them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only the dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So the laser beam literally disintegrated them, all right? That was coming out of the chariots, which they refer to today as UFOs and UHPs. That's why it says that so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust. They were turned into dust. All of these soldiers of war from all of these allied forces during the war of Armageddon. And the smell of smoke, when I saw this, I was afraid. And this, we believe, is going to be taking place in the Middle East. This battle here that Ezra's referring to here is something that's going to be taking place in the Middle East in the midst of the war of Armageddon. That's the Lord in his chariot. The smaller probes, the thousands that were following him were the angels in the smaller probes, the smaller chariots that could have come out of the Lord's chariot, the smaller ones. But the Lord was the first to attack, and then the rest of the angels would have done their work, right? But that's what he saw, chariot of the Lord. So this is why when she says that, right, they know, Esau knows. Esau knows. Let me just go back to what she said about the historical aspects. They know.
And that we've been told. And then also too, I think that there's this historical aspect of, this gets into the deeper theories and concepts of religion. And I think the history that we currently know, and that kind of spins off into another topic of, you have the modern day Bible, you have this aspect of Bibles that or books of the Bible that have been removed that
books of the Bible that have been removed. What books did they remove? The Apocrypha. They know.
And kind of touch on these topics. And I think that
we just touched on it in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. All right. I can go into 2nd Maccabees chapter 5 to speak about the Heliodorus who came down. Or 2nd Maccabees chapter 3, I believe it's in, where it speaks about the angel Heliodorus when he came down. Was it Heliodorus? No, when he came down on Heliodorus, basically, sorry. When the angel came down on Heliodorus, it speaks about that. Wisdom, we can go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, that speaks about the angels of the Lord and the chariots. So there are other scriptures in the Apocrypha that I can go to, but because of time, let's just keep going. Keep it moving.
A time and age where you have such a vast amount of information that we have access to via social media, via your cell phone, via the internet. And so it's really changing the way that we understand, the origins of life and the spiritual reality that we know.
When you
currently.
say interdimensional beings, that they know that these are interdimensional beings, how do they know that?
These are the angels of the Lord in those chariots. Those interdimensional beings are the Lord's angels in those chariots. That's what they are. You know, when what was it? Was it Noah? Who was it again? I'm trying to think of. You had, was it Judges? Samson's mother, she saw one. DGS, hold on. I think it's Judges. Is it Judges 6 or Judges 13? No, hold on. She saw them. Let me just quickly read a few priests. This one, Judges chapter 13. Yeah, here it is here. Judges chapter 13, verse 3. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh appeared unto the woman. That woman is Samson's mother, Manoah's. It is Manoah. I believe the father's name is Manoah, Manoah's wife. And said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any clean thing. Yeah, it says there, whose name was the family of Nat, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and not bear. Yeah, yeah. So that is, the husband is Manoah. That's Samson's mother. That's his father, Manoah. It says, For thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite, and the Most High, and the powers from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And this is where I want to get to the points in verse 6. Sorry. It says, Then the woman, Samson's mother, came and told her husband, which is Manoah, saying, A man of the powers came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of the angel of the powers. Very terrible, she said. Oh, praise the other side. Very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat anything unclean, for the child shall be a Nazarite to the powers, to the angels of the Most High, from the womb to the day of his death. All right. So she said the angel was very terrible. His color is very terrible. All right. And then, because that's the angel that didn't eat the food with them. That's the one, the angel that went up in the because I know they cooked a food for him. Let's just quickly this. Just quickly jump to the point here. Yeah. Verse 15. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee, which I believe is a baby goat, right? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. So this angel didn't come to eat, right? So as you're going to see, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. This is what the angel is telling Manoah. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord, right? He didn't know he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? That when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. All right. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? So this is an angel that didn't disclose his name to Samson's father or Samson's mother. All right. So Manoah took a kid. So the fact that Manoah didn't know this was an angel, this is Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? The fact that Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord, he must appear to Manoah differently than when he appeared to his wife. Because when he appeared to his wife, she said he had a bright countenance and he was terrible to look at. So he was frightening to look at when he appeared to Manoah's wife, Samson's mother. But when he appeared to Manoah, right, by himself, he didn't look the same as he did when he appeared to the wife. Because it says here, for Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord. Whereas the wife said, that's got to be an angel. She's never seen something, such fright, so frightening in her life. I didn't realize that, but that's I'm glad I realized that now. So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering and offered it upon a rock unto the Lord, and the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass when the flame went up towards heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar, and Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. So when he appeared the second time to them, he did not appear how he looked the first time to Manoah's wife. So when Manoah and his wife saw the angel for the second time, for the first time for Manoah, the second time for the wife, he came looking differently, because neither of them realized that he was an angel of the Lord when he came the second time. So it says, and Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die, because we have seen the powers. But his wife said unto him, she was obviously had a very strong faith, his wife, boy, said unto him, the women that we don't have today, boy, few and far between. But his wife said unto him, if the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. Truly, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would as at this time have told us such things as these. All right. So these interdimensional beings are the angels of the Lord that are appearing to certain people, whether they're seeing just the chariots or the angel itself. Shit, man, things are happening, man. Truly. And you see, people can't hold this in no more. You know, they have to speak on it, and this is the Lord putting the spirit on them to speak on these things. Why? Because we are in those times. I can't say this enough. Let's go back.
Based on testimony would be based on witnesses that have come forward, but what I can tell
So
you
the
is
witnesses just were told that they were
that they've seen things. And what I can tell you without getting into classified conversations is that there have been incidences that I believe where very credible people have reported that there have been movement outside of time and space.
That's very vague.
Yeah. So look,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Look, have I seen a portal open? No. Have I seen a spaceship? Personally, no. Have I seen evidence of this? Yes. Have I seen photo documentation of aircraft that I believe were not made by mankind? Yes. Is there historical significance to this? Yes. Is there multiple events that go back to, I would argue, maybe even before the time of Christ that have documented this in text? Yes. So
absolutely, yes. 100%. Let's go to like that. Are there multiple events that go back to, which I would agree, which I would argue, she says, let's read what it says again. Let's read that statement again.
Made by mankind? Yes. Is there historical significance to this? Yes. Is there multiple events that go back to, I would argue, maybe even before the time of Christ that have documented this in text? Yes.
Before the time of Yahushua that have documented this in text? Yes. Absolutely. Why don't we go to a few scriptures here. Ezekiel, the angel of the Lord that appeared to Ezekiel. Let's just quickly go straight to the point here. It says here, it says, Ezekiel 1 verse 10, it says, as for their likeness, right, the angels, as for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man, the face of a lion on the right side. They four had the face of an ox on the left side. They four also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upwards. 2 wings of every one were joined together, one to another, and 2 covered their bodies, right? And I believe these are the chariots that they are seeing here when it talks about their wings. And they went every one straight forward, right? Whither the spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. So when these vehicles, these chariots of the Lord turn, they didn't have to, like a car turns its steering wheel to turn it's the nose of the car to go left, or to turn its steering wheel for the nose of the car to go right, or to reverse back forward or whatever. Wherever the chariot wanted to go, whether it was left, right, up, down, back, front, it just moved. It didn't turn. It wasn't a vehicle that had to turn to go that direction. It just moved in whatever direction it needed to go. That's why it says that. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down amongst the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning, which would have been the lasers. The bright fires that they're seeing are the bright lights that are coming from these chariots. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. So to Ezekiel, he believes he's seen an actual living creature. This is an angel that's in its chariot that can do all sorts of things: contract, extract, small, get small, large, big, whatever. But you think this is during the Babylonian captivity. So when he's seeing this, he's seen, in a sense, it's, I mean, it's so hard to explain even to us still, because in a sense, it may be some type of organically alive, the chariot, how the angels are able to work the chariots, you know, in such a way that they kind of become one. So it says, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and the 4 had one likeness, and the appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When these circular chariots moved, like a wheel in the middle of a wheel, they went upon their 4 sides. They turned not when they went. They just moved in whatever direction. As for their rings, the lights, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them 4. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, and the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels, the chariots. The spirit of the living creature are the angels that are in these chariots. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit, the angels of the living creature, was in the wheels, was in the chariots. So Ezekiel saw it all. So yeah, it's all in this. Well, I mean, I know you brothers know it's all in the scriptures. But she's actually saying before the time of Christ, she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. And these devils know. These devils know.
Believe were not made by mankind. Yes. Is there historical significance to this? Yes. Is there multiple events that go back to, I would argue, maybe even before the time of Christ that have documented this in text? Yes. So do I believe that the government has access to certain technology? Yes, to an extent. And I believe that certain contractors potentially have back engineered this tech. I think that that's what can explain.
They've not back engineered any instead. This is the red herring that I'd like to throw at you. No chariot has crash landed for anyone to have been able to captured one, for them to be able to take it apart and, you know, reverse engineer what these things are made out of. That is the one thing that they think they can. That's like that's the spanner in the works. They keep throwing a spanner in the works. In the midst of this truth, they wanted to believe that they were able to capture a chariot or a chariot has crashed. Not a single UFO, not a single angel is sitting banged up in some black site, some CIA black site, being interrogated by Esau, wondering, how do I escape these chains of Esau? No, my friend. They've not back engineered. That's the one thing I know that's the one thing I know that they always keep pushing to make you think that somehow that they have, you know, a chariot has collapsed or crashed or whatever, and they've captured the chariot, or they've got the angel banged up in some black CIA site. That is total BS. These are the Lord's angels. You know, no one ain't capturing the Lord's angels. Ask Helidorus, he'll tell you the story about coming across the Lord's angel.
The advancements that we're seeing, but I also believe that this is a dangerous level of hidden information.
But let me just grab that just to show you. Second Maccabees. Let me just quickly grab it. No one ain't grabbing. Listen, no chariot ain't crashing. No angel ain't frigging being captured and dragged away to some black site somewhere. This is not happening, family. All right. I think it's Second Maccabees chapter 3. We'll start here, verse 23. 2nd Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 23. It says, nevertheless, Helidorus executed that which was decreed. Now, I believe it was decreed upon him by, was it Seleucus, the king of Asia? I believe that's who sent him. I believe it was Seleucus, the king of Asia, that sent him. All right, if you go to the backstory. All right, so he was decreed, except from the Greek Empire anyway, all right, at the time. So it says, now as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, so he's gone into Solomon's temple, that's where the treasury was, right? The Lord of spirits and the prince of all powers caused a great apparition. That's an angel of the Lord. An apparition is when you see an angel. So that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High and fainted and were sore afraid of what they saw, this apparition, which was the angel. For there appeared unto them a horse, a literal horse, they are seen, with a terrible rider upon him, which was the angel of the Lord, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Helidorus, because Helidorus came to rob the treasury in Solomon's temple, right, to bring back to his masters, right? And he smote at Helidorus with his forefeet, and it seemed that he had sat upon the horse, had complete harness of gold. So he that sat upon the horse had a complete harness of gold. This is the Lord's angel on a literal horse in a complete harness of gold. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, right? 2 other angels, notably in strength, excellent in beauty, and commonly in apparel. So these angels were handsome men to look at, right? Who stood by him on either side. So they stood by the angel that was on the horse in the gold armor and scourged him continually, scourged Helidorus continuously, and gave him many sore stripes. And Helidorus fell suddenly unto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, those that were with Helidorus that witnessed this, took him up and put him into a litter. So he was scourged to a near death. Thus him that lately came with a great train with all his guard into the said treasury, talking about Helidorus, they carried him out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledged the what? The power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life. One more verse. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place, which was the temple, all right? For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. And that's what I said. When these angels and his chariots are going to appear to the nations, they're going to be filled with fear and trouble. The elect of the nation of Israel, the elect of the Hebrew Israelites, we're going to be filled with joy and gladness, just like what you see here, all right? They praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. He's coming to honor his people. For the temple, this talked about Solomon's temple at the time, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, just like us. We're full of fear and trouble because we're in captivity under these Edomites. We know we're at any time this man can take our life, all right? Can do all sorts because he's in control. Ultimately, the Lord's in control, but the Lord put this man in control. So right now, the Israelites are living in fear and trouble. When the Almighty Lord appeared, but when Yahushai appears and the angels, we're going to be filled with joy and gladness, just like they did back then when the angel appeared to them in the temple. Beautiful. So no one ain't capturing no angels or doing no reverse engineering. Nothing like that is going on, just so you understand.
Information from the American people, because if you have an aspect of the federal government, which I can tell you, I, with 2 other members of Congress, were denied access to information at Eglin Air Force Base pertaining to whistleblowers because of the fact, and we can get into that story and what happened at Eglin in a second, but we were denied access and told that we don't have security clearance or the read-in authority on a special access program. That's a problem because I'm supposed to represent and be an investigative body, and you have then people who are unelected that are operating basically in secrecy, and that's a problem. That's a big problem.
And so how do these people have the authority to do that?
I think it's been decades of classified secret information, then also this aspect of the intelligence community that's been empowered. And it's kind of serendipitous with timing because when you talk about the intelligence communities and what they've done essentially to the trust in this country with the American people, I think this goes all the way back even into JFK, with how they basically have operated outside of the purview of Congress and basically to an extent have gone rogue up until recently. You're seeing a big push and pull to try to rein in these intelligence agencies currently.
Yeah. So what I want to bring it back to evidence. You said that you've seen evidence. Like what kind of evidence have you seen?
I have seen photos. I have seen
What have you seen photos of?
So I was in a skiff, and I can't discuss all that was in a skiff, but what I can tell you is based on the photos that I've seen, I'm very confident that there's things out there that have not been created by mankind.
It seems crazy that people have access to information that shows that there's something outside of us that is more intelligent, at least more capable than we are, and they hide it from everybody else.
What I can
Absolutely. But like I said, we're in this time now where the hiding this thing is no longer feasible. So let me go to one more scripture because I got to get ready to go camp now. It's just 10 to 1. I'm going to leave here in 15 minutes. Make my way to camp. What was I going to go to? Luke. Is it Luke I want? Yeah. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. Because that's how it's going to go down. The return of the Messiah, that's exactly how it's going to go down. And we're going to finish it here. Luke 21, verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with what? With perplexity and the sea and the waves roaring. Those signs that are going to be in the sun and moon and the stars upon the earth, distress of nations, it's going to be the chariots when they see, when the whole world can't deny it no more, which will be during the midst of the war of Armageddon, the deliverance of the elect nation of Israel. When the skies are going to be, just like the movie Independence Day, the skies are going to be filled with them. Men's heart failing them for fear and looking for and looking after those things which are coming on the earth. The Lord in the chariots and the angels in their chariots. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. The elites of this world are going to be shaken. Because I know some of the elites want to know if this is true. They want to know, so they're pushing the schedule because they want to know. They want answers. They want answers. They want to know if all of this is true. So they're going to push those buttons themselves. But the scripture says, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then know his own ways? But the powers of heaven, these elites and super elites, are going to be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man, Yahushua, coming in a cloud, chariot, with power and great glory. Right? The angels are going to be with them. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up into the heavens and lift up your heads, family. For what? For your redemption draws nigh. Your salvation draws nigh. That's it. That's it. That's game over. When Luke 21, chapter 21, verse 25, 28 kicks in, it's game over. Game over. Ding, ding. Can't put no more credits in the machine. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I pray you are edified. As always, she had a lot to say. And still, not everything that they tell us, they're going to tell us. But like I say, the spirit jumps on these people to want to say these things. And there's only so much they can say anyway. But she had a lot to say. It was good to hear what you had to say. I pray you are edified. As always, I want to give her the praises And the glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to his only begotten Son, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, and shalom to the hopefully elect brothers and sisters of the house of Israel. I got to get, when I'm ready, I'm just going to pack my car and make my way down to camp in the next 10 minutes, leave this house. I make my way down to camp, Lord willing. We'll be on the highways and hedges in roughly 45 minutes. I should be at camp, and we'll be in there in the next 45 minutes, hour. We'll be on live again on the highways and hedges. Lord willing, we'll be there with you, brothers, and you few sisters. Shalom to you. Shalom to you, Elder Yahawada, GMS Hawaii. Shalom to you, my brother. It's always good to see you on the comment board, as always. And shalom to the brothers and Tawada for those brothers that are putting up the precepts on the comment board, as always, engaging. And shalom to the few sisters that have been edified. All praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakah, Kodash. Keep praying, keep safe, repent, and hold on to this truth. Shalom, 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 family. All praises.